RPG is a high-level programming language for business applications. RPG is an IBM proprietary programming language and its later versions only available on IBM I or OS/400-based systems. It has a long history, having been developed by IBM in 1959 as the report program generator, a tool to replicate punched card processing on the IBM 1401, then updated to RPG-2 for the IBM System/3 in the late 1960s, and since evolved into an HLL equivalent to COBOL and PL. It remains a popular programming language on the IBM I operating system, which runs on IBM Power I platform hardware. The current version, RPG-4, provides a modern programming environment. Overview: an RPG program once typically started off with file specifications, listing all files being written to, read from or updated, followed by data definition specifications containing program elements such as data structures and dimensional arrays, much like a working storage section of a COBOL program or var statements in Pascal. This is followed by calculation specifications, which contain the executable instructions. Output specifications can follow, which can be used to determine the layout of other files or reports. Alternatively, files, some data structures and reports can be defined externally, mostly eliminating the need to hand code input and output specifications. In the early days of RPG, its major strength was known as the program cycle. Every RPG program executes within an implied loop, which can apply the program to every record of a file. At that time, each record would be compared to each line in the program, which would act upon the record, or not, based upon whether that line had an indicator turned on, or off from a set of logical variables numbered 01 to 99 for user-defined purposes, or other smaller sets based upon record, field, or report processing functions. The concept of level breaks and matching records is unique to the RPG-2 language, and was originally developed with card readers in mind. Since the introduction of the System/38 in 1979, most RPG programmers discontinued use of the cycle in favor of controlling program flow with standard looping constructs, although IBM has continued to provide backward compatibility for the cycle. History: RPG is one of the few languages created for punched card machines that are still in common use today. This is because the language has evolved considerably over time. It was originally developed by IBM in 1959. The name Report Program Generator was descriptive of the purpose of the language: generation of reports from data files, including matching record and subtotal reports. Fargo was the predecessor to RPG on the IBM 1401. Both languages were intended to facilitate ease of transition for IBM tabulating machine unit record equipment technicians to the then new computers. Tab machine technicians were accustomed to plugging wires into control panels to implement input, output, control and counter operations. Tab machines programs were executed by impulses emitted in a machine cycle. Hence, Fargo and RPG emulated the notion of the machine cycle with the program cycle. RPG was superior to and rapidly replaced Fargo as the report generator program of choice. The alternative languages generally available at the time were Assembler, COBOL or Fortran. COBOL was a natural language-like business-oriented language, and Fortran was a language that facilitated mathematical applications. Other languages of the era included ALGOL and Autocoder, and a few years later PLI. Assembler and COBOL were more common in mainframe business operations, and RPG more commonly used by customers who were in transition from tabulating equipment. Language evolution: RPG-2 was introduced with the System/3 series of computers. It was later used on System/32, System/34, and System/36, with an improved version of the language. RPG-2 was also available for larger systems, including the IBM System/370 mainframe running DOS VSE. ICL also produced a version on its VMEK operating system. RPG-3 was created for the System/38 and its successor the AS/400. RPG-3 significantly departed from the original language, providing modern structured constructs like if and if blocks, do loops, and subroutines. RPG-3 was also available for larger systems including the IBM System /370 mainframe running OS/VS1. It was also available from Unisys for the Versus/9 operating system running on the Unix Series 90 mainframes. DRPG or Data Entry RPG was exclusively available on the IBM 5280 series of data entry workstations in the early 80s. It was similar to RPG-3 but lacking external data descriptions to describe data files, like on the System/38 and its successors. Instead, the DDS part had to be included into the RPG source itself. RPG/400 was effectively RPG-3 running on AS/400. IBM renamed the RPG compiler as RPG/400, but at the time of its introduction it was identical to the RPG-3 compiler on System/38. The rebranding took place to differentiate between the earlier CISC on the beige boxes to the later, **, usually on the black servers. Virtually all IBM products were rebranded as XXX/400 and the RPG compiler was no exception. RPG-3 compiled with the RPG/400 compiler offered nothing new to the RPG-3 language until IBM began development of new operation codes, such as SCAN, CAT and XLATE after several years of AS/400 availability. These enhancements to RPG-3 were not available in the System/38 version of RPG-3. RPG-4 was released in 1994 and the name, officially, was no longer an initialism. RPG-4 offered a greater variety of expressions within its extended factor 2 calculation specification and, later in life, its free format calculation specifications and procedure syntax. RPG-4 is the only version of RPG supported by IBM in its long line of successors to the AS/400 system. RPG-4, in 2001, with the release of OS/400 v5.01, RPG-4 offered greater freedom for calculations than offered by the extended factor 2 calculation specification, a free-format text-capable source entry, as an alternative to the original column-dependent source format. The /free calculation did not require the operation code to be placed in a particular column. The operation code is optional for the EVAL and CALLP operations. And syntax generally more closely resembles that of mainstream, general-purpose programming languages. Until October 2013, the free format only applied to the calculation specifications. With the V7R1 TR7 upgrade to the language, the /free and /end free calculations are no longer necessary, and the language has finally broken the ties to punched cards. Today, RPG-4 is a more robust language. Editing can still be done via the simple green screen editor or it can be edited via PC using IBM's WebSphere Development Studio, now named RDI, a customized implementation of Eclipse. IBM is continually extending its capabilities and adding more built-in functions. It has the ability to link to Java objects, and i5/OS APIs. It can be used to write CGI programs with the help of IBM's CGI DEV2 Web Toolkit, the COSI APP tools, CGI LIB, the RPG Toolbox, and other commercial web-enabled packages. Even with the changes, it retains a great deal of backward compatibility, so an RPG program written 37 years ago could run today with little or no modification. The SQL Pre Compiler allows current RPG developers to take advantage of IBM's cost-based SQE. With the traditional FSpec approach, a developer had to identify a specific access path to a dataset. Now they can implement standard embedded SQL statements directly in the program. When compiled, the SQL Pre-Compiler transforms the invalid embedded SQL statements into valid RPG statements that call the database manager programs that ultimately implement the query request. In 2006, OS/400 was renamed i5/OS to correspond with the new IBM System i5 branding initiative. The 5 was later dropped in favor of just System I. In March 2008, i5/OS was renamed IBM I as part of the Power Systems consolidation of System I and System P product lines. The new power systems also adopt more mainstream version numbers, substituting 6.1 for the 20-year-old V101MO notation. The latest release is now referred to as IBM i 7.2 and fully supports the RPG4 language, as well as many others. WebSphere Development Studio Client is now referred to as Rational Developer for I, of which 3 product levels are available. They are called Rational Developer for I, RDI Service-Oriented Architecture, and Rational Application Developer. The new lineup provides in more granular packaging all of the development tools and support previously offered by WDSC and WDSC Advanced Edition. The language is based on the IBM character set, but also supports UTF-8, UTF-16 and many other character sets. The thread-safe aspects of the language are considered idiosyncratic by some, as the compiler team has addressed threads by giving each thread its own static storage, rather than make the RPG runtime environment re-entrant. This has been noted to muddle the distinction between a thread and a process. RPG Open Access, launched in 2010 with the full name of Rational Open Access, RPG Edition. Upon its launch, IBM I chief architect Steve Wall described it as an enhancement that a Euro unregistered trademark S, really an architectural change that opens a PG up to whole new users. And a Euro unregistered trademark S being brought to the community by IBM I, our friends in IBM Rational, and several ISVs were Euro unregistered trademark. They've been working with IBM to hit the ground running. The idea behind the new capability is to remove the necessity for all output from a PG programs to be forced in the limited 5250 data stream. Instead, it can be passed to handlers, which can transform it in any way the handler wants. Wrap it in XML. Put it in the format required by a pervasive device. Make a web page that does a Euro unregistered trademark T look like a 5250 screen. Whatever you want. Data types. RPG supports the following data types. Note: the character in the data type column is the character that is encoded on the definition specification in the column designated for data type. To compare, in a language like C where definitions of variables are free format and would use a keyword such as int to declare an integer variable, in RPG, a variable is defined with a fixed format definition specification. In the definition specification, denoted by a letter D in column 6 of a source line, the data type character would be encoded in column 40. Also, if the data type character is omitted, that is, left blank, the default will be A if no decimal positions are specified. Otherwise, the default will be P. Example code: the following program receives a customer number as an input parameter and returns the name and address as output parameters. This is the most primitive version of a PG4 syntax. The same program is shown later with gradually more modern versions of the syntax and gradually more relaxed rules. Historically, RPG was columnar in nature, though free formatting was allowed under particular circumstances. The purpose of various lines code are determined by a letter code in column 6. An asterisk in column 7 denotes a comment line. F-specs define files and other I/O devices. FARMST F1IFEK disk rename, ARMST, RARMST. D-specs are used to define variables, dpcusno S6P, dpname S30, dpaddr1 S30, dpaddr2 S30, dpcity S25, dpstate S2, dpzip S10A. C-specs are used for executable statements. Parameters are defined using PLIST and PALM opcodes, C-entry PLIST, C-PALM P-cusno, C-PALM P-name, C-PALM PADDR1, C-PALM PADDR2, C-PALM P-city, C-PALM P-state, C-PALM P-zip. The chain command is used for random access of a keyed file, cpcusno chain ARMSTF1. If a record is found, move fields from the file into parameters, if found, ceval p-name equals arnm01, ceval paddr1 equals ardo1, ceval paddr2 equals ardo2, ceval p-city equals rco1, ceval p-state equals rsto1, ceval p-zip equals arzp15, cndif. RPG makes use of switches. One switch LR originally stood for last record. LR flags the program and its data space as removable from memory. See eval LR equals on. The same program using free calculations available starting in V501. F-specs define files and other I.O. devices. FARMST F1IFEK disk rename, ARMST, RARMST. D-specs are used to define variables and parameters. The prototype for the program is in a separate file, allowing other programs to call it, /copy cust PR. The procedure interface describes the entry parameters, dget cust infpi, dp cust no 6p0 const, dp name 30, dp add 130, dp add 230, dp city 25, dp state 2, dp zip 10, /free. The chain command is used for random access of a keyed file, chain pcus no armstf1. If a record is found, move fields from the file into parameters, if %found. pname equals arnm01. paddr1 equals arad01. paddr2 equals arad02. pcity equals rco1. pstate equals rst01. pzip equals arzp15. End if. RPG makes use of switches. One switch LR originally stood for last record. LR actually flags the program and its data space as removable from memory. In LR equals on. /n free. Assume the ARMSTF1 example table was created using the following SQL statement. The same program using free calculations and embedded SQL. RPG4 no longer requires the use of the INLR indicator to terminate a program. By using the main keyword on the HSpec, and identifying the main, or, entry procedure name, the program will begin and end normally without using the, decades-old RPG cycle and instead a more C-like begin and end logic. Hmain, get cust inf, D-specs are used to define variables and parameters. The prototype for the program is in a separate file, allowing other programs to call it, /copy cust PR. The procedure interface describes the entry parameters, pget cust infb, dget cust infpi, dp cust no 6p0 const, dp name 30, dp add 130, dp add 230, dp city 25, dp state 2, dp zip 10, /free, exec sql select ar name, aradd1, aradd2, arcity, arstte, arzip, into pname, paddr1, paddr2, pcity, pstate, pzip. From armstf1, where arcnum equals pcusno, for fetch only, fetch first one row only, optimize for one row, with cs. /n free, pget cust infe. As a v7r1 of the operating system, the above program would not necessarily need the prototype in a separate file, so it could be completely written as hmain, get cust inf, darmstf1 eds, pget cust infb, dget cust infpiextpgm, cus001, dncust no like, arcnum, const, doutname like, arname, doutaddr1 like, arad1, doutaddr2 like, arad2, doutcity like, arcity, doutstate like, arstte, doutzip like, arzip, /free, exec sql select arname, arad1, arad2, arcity, arstte, arzip, into outname, outaddr1, outaddr2, outcity, outstate, outzip. From armstf1, where arcnum equals and cust no, fetch first one row only, with cs, use currently committed. /n free, pget cust infe. Lastly, if you apply the compiler PTF's related technology refresh 70 or 7.1 operating system, then the above program can be coded completely in free form as follows. ctl opt main, get cust inf. dcl dsarmstf1 extend ds. dcl proc get cust inf. dcl pi nextpgm, cus001. In Cusno like, Arknum, Kunst. Outname like, Name. Out ADDR1 like, ARAD1. Out ADDR2 like, ARAD2. Out City like, ARCity. Out State like, ARSTTE. Out Zip like, ARZip. End Pi. Exec SQL select ARName, ARAD1, ARAD2, ARCity, ARSTTE, ARZip, int outname, out ADDR1, out ADDR2, out City, out State, out Zip, from ARMSTF1, where ARCnum equals and Cusno, fetch first one row only, with CS, use currently committed. Return. End proc. Platforms. As stated above, the RPG programming language originally was introduced by IBM for their proprietary
1401/360/3,/34/36/38AS/400 and System I systems. There have also been implementations for the digital VAX, Sperry UNIVC BC/7, UNIVC System 80, Siemens BS2000, Burroughs B700, B1700, Hewlett-Packard HP 3000, ICL 2900 series, Honeywell 6220 and 2020, 4-phase 4/70 and 4/90 series, Singer System 10 and Wang Versus, as well as miscellaneous compilers and runtime environments for Unix-based systems, such as Infinite 36, and PCs. The latest platform to receive an RPG compiler is Windows.NET through the Win RPG compiler, which was purchased by iNet System Solutions in March 2013. This version contains extensions to RPG4 beyond that of the base IBM compiler. These extensions provide Microsoft Windows and .NET hooks in the native and System36 environment, as well as the ability to port DB/2 files to Microsoft Access and Microsoft SQL Server databases via ODBC. RPG2 applications are still supported under the IBM ZVSE and ZOS operating systems, HPMPE operating system on HP 3000 and the OpenVMS operating system on VAX, Alpha, and Unisys MCP and now Windows servers and desktops under iNet RPG. References. Further reading, McGee, W.C. Database Technology. IBM Journal of Research and Development 25, 514 doi, 10.1147/RD. 255.0505. Original report program generator was the IBM report program generator introduced in the early 1960s for the IBM 1401 computer. It was patterned after the Share 9-pack system. 9-pack, report generator. History of Programming Languages, Murdoch University, AU. 2006. RPG, report program generator. History of Programming Languages, Murdoch University, AU. 2006. Ducharme, Bob. Pulling Data Out of Computers in the Mid-20th and Early 21st Centuries. Cossey, Robert. The Modern RPG4 Language. Shelley, Gary B. Thomas J. Cashman. Introduction to Computer Programming RPG. Fullerton, California, Anaheim Publishing Company. ISBN 0-88236-225-9. External links, Smith, Brian R. Martin Barbeau. Susan Gauntner. John Paris. Stravo Vincetic. Vladimir Zubka. Who Knew You Could Do That with RPG4? A Sorcerer Unregistered Trademark S Guide to System Access and more. IBM International Technical Support Organization. Retrieved February 18, 2012. This Red Book is focused on RPG4 as a modern, thriving, and rich application development language for the 21st century. Midrange.com. A large amount of code examples are available here. RPG Open, a free open-source service program with add-on sub-procedures written in RPG4 for RPG4. Note: Sunset September 2012. Replaced by COSTools, which is a free runtime and a for-fee developer edition. IBM.
IBM 1401 Rpg Manual. C24-3261-1. IBM ILE Rpg Programmer's Guide. SC09-2507-07. RPG for COBOL Programmers, Article, RPG2 for MVS, OS/390 and ZOS, Status of the IBM RPG2 product in ZOS, the Compilator, Online RPG2 compiler for small experiments and tinkering.